You know that feeling. The day winds down, you're finally done with everything, but instead of relaxing, there's this cloud that settles in. Maybe worries, maybe just feeling a bit low.
Yeah, it's surprisingly common, that sense that emotions just get heavier after sunset.
Exactly. And tonight, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, why those evening and nighttime hours can sometimes bring on stronger feelings of sadness or just a generally low mood.
That's right, and we're drawing on some really insightful chats from Mike and Emma over at the EDP English Dialogue podcast YouTube channel. They actually tackled this same thing.
Ah, good stuff. So our mission here is to really get under the hood, understand the psychological stuff, the biological reasons why our mood shifts at night.
And pull out some practical insights, right?
Yeah,
Things you listening might actually be able to use. Because it's not just, random. There are real reasons.
totally. Okay, so where should we start? Maybe the lack of daytime distractions?
Yeah, that's a big one. Think about how packed our days usually are at work, maybe school, family stuff, errands, social interaction.
Right, your brain is constantly juggling things focused outwards. It's like a buffer almost.
Exactly, a buffer. But then night comes, things get quiet, the demands lessen, and suddenly there's space.
Mental space. And that space, unfortunately, can sometimes become like a playground for the negative thoughts that were maybe buzzing around underneath all day.
Precisely. Think about your own day, everyone listening. How much mental energy is just gone, used up on tasks, talking to people.
Yeah. What happens when all that just stops?
Well, that void, it gets filled, and often without the external noise, the internal noise gets louder, which leads us straight into nighttime overthinking.
Oh, the classic nighttime mental marathon. Does this sound familiar? Lying there trying to switch off, but your brain's decided now is the perfect time to replay that awkward thing you said.
Or worry about tomorrow's meeting, or dissect something from last week.
Yes. Or even stuff from years ago. It's like the worry volume knob gets cranked right up.
It really is. During the day, we're often in problem-solving mode, action mode. At night, that energy can kind of turn inwards, and sometimes it gets stuck in these loops. Rumination.
Rumination, yeah. It's like the mental editor just clocks off for the night.
Huh. That's a good way to put it. And another thing Mike and Emma brought up, which ties into this quietness, is how feelings of loneliness can really ramp up.
Oh, definitely. If you've been busy and connected all day, that shift to being alone in the evening can feel quite stark, can't it?
Very stark. That contrast can make any underlying feelings of isolation feel much more acute.
And let's be honest, social media often doesn't help here, does it? You're sitting there feeling maybe a bit lonely. You pick up your phone.
And you see curated feeds, highlight reels of everyone else seemingly having amazing connected evenings.
Right, which can make your own quiet night feel, I don't know, lacking. Less than,
No.
especially if you're already feeling a bit vulnerable.
It taps right into that social comparison thing we humans do. Seeing those, let's face it, often idealized portrayals when you're alone at night, it can easily fuel those feelings of inadequacy or amplify the loneliness. It's a really tricky dynamic.
It really is. Okay, so that's some of the psychological side. What about what's actually happening in our bodies? Mike and Emma mentioned biology, like serotonin.
Yes, that's crucial. So biologically, as evening approaches, our bodies naturally decrease the production of serotonin.
And serotonin is key for mood regulation, right?
Absolutely, it's a major player. So lower levels naturally occurring in the evening can make us a bit more susceptible to feeling down or anxious. It's tied into our circadian rhythms, our body's internal clock.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's not just serotonin, is it? Did they mention energy levels too?
Yep. Our physical energy naturally dips as the day ends. We're just winding down physiologically.
So you combine lower serotonin, lower physical energy, fewer distractions.
And more mental space for thoughts. It's kind of a perfect storm for emotions to feel heavier, isn't it? Your brain's chemistry is literally shifting gear.
Wow. Yeah, when you put it like that. And speaking of body rhythms, we absolutely have to talk about sleep. That came up too.
Oh, massively. Sleep is fundamental. Poor sleep patterns can seriously impact nighttime mood.
How so? Exactly. Like being tired just makes everything feel worse.
Pretty much, yeah. But more specifically, when you're overtired, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for emotional regulation, decision-making, kind of the sensible part, doesn't function as well.
Ah, okay. So your ability to manage those negative feelings is impaired.
Exactly. Things feel more intense, harder to cope with. And it's a two-way street, remember. Feeling low or anxious at night makes it harder to fall asleep.
Which then makes you more tired and potentially lower the next night.
Yeah.
Vicious cycle.
Precisely. And getting out of sync with your natural circadian rhythm, Inconsistent bedtime, staying up super late that disrupts the whole system, including emotional balance.
It really hammers home that prioritizing sleep isn't just about physical rest. It's critical for mental well-being. Have you noticed that connection yourself? A bad night's sleep equals a tougher evening emotionally.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost immediate for me, which brings us nicely back to technology and social media again because they mess with sleep and mood.
Right, the double-edged sword, as they call it.
Ah.
We talked about the comparison aspect.
But there's also just the sheer content we consume. Ever heard of doom scrolling?
Oh, yeah. Just
Yes.
endlessly scrolling through bad news or upsetting posts.
Exactly. And doing that, especially at night when you might already be feeling a bit low, can just pull you down further. Our brains have this negativity bias anyway. We tend to focus on the bad stuff.
So you're feeding the beast, essentially.
You really are. And then there's the purely physical impact, the blue light.
Right, from phones, tablets, laptops.
That blue light actually suppresses the production of melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that tells your body, hey, it's nighttime, time to sleep.
So screens before bed make it harder to fall asleep.
Which, as we just discussed, messes with your mood regulation the next day. It's all connected.
It really is. So the takeaway there is pretty clear. Limit screen time before bed. Easier said than done sometimes, but important.
Definitely. Maybe aim for, like, an hour screen-free before you want to sleep. It can genuinely make a difference.
Good practical tip. Now, Mike and Emma also shared some personal stuff, didn't they, to show this is, well, normal.
They did. Emma talked about anxiety during her college days, lying awake, worrying about exams, the future. Those nighttime worries feeling huge.
Yeah, I remember that feeling. And Mike?
Mike mentioned overanalyzing things, like replaying conversations or decisions from the day, his mind just refusing to switch off, that mental editor working overtime, perhaps.
Totally relatable. And I think hearing that is so important for anyone listening who experiences this. You're really, really not alone. It's a shared human thing.
Absolutely. Which leads us to, okay, what can we actually do? They offered some great practical strategies.
Yes, let's get into those. The bedtime routine was a big one.
It's super important. Having a consistent, calming routine signals to your brain. Okay, time to wind down. Could be reading a real book, not on a screen.
Maybe some gentle mindfulness or meditation, even just 5 minutes. Or calming music.
All great options. It's about creating that transition. And Emma mentioned journaling, which you said you find helpful.
I do. Just getting those swirling thoughts out of my head and onto paper, it
Yeah.
feels like it. Clears space somehow. Reduces the mental clutter before trying to sleep.
Like a brain dump. It can be really effective for processing emotions and releasing worries. Mike also brought up practicing gratitude.
Ah, yes. Shifting focus. Taking a moment to think about things you're thankful for, even small things.
Yeah, especially when you're feeling low, consciously directing your attention to the positive can help counterbalance the negative thoughts. Doesn't have to be huge things.
No, just, good cup of coffee, nice chat you had.
Yeah.
And we already mentioned limiting screen time before bed. Maybe swapping it for a warm bath or some light stretching.
Exactly. Creating that tech-free buffer zone before sleep.
Yeah.
And another practical point, especially if loneliness is a big factor for you at night,
Yeah.
try to connect with someone earlier in the evening. A call with a friend, quality time with family, even playing with a pet. It can help buffer against that nighttime isolation.
That's a really good thought. Building connection before the quiet sets in. Now, we also need to touch on something serious. When is this more than just a bad night? When should someone seek help?
Crucial point. Yes. While occasional nighttime sadness is common, Mike and Emma emphasize that if it's persistent, if it feels really intense and overwhelming.
And it's messing with your sleep consistently or your relationships or just your ability to function day to day.
Exactly. Those are red flags. That's when seeking professional support, talking to a therapist, a counselor, your doctor is really important.
And they were very clear. Any thoughts of self-harm mean you need to reach out for help immediately. Crisis hotlines, mental health professionals, don't wait.
Absolutely critical. And please remember, reaching out is a sign of strength. It's taking care of yourself. These professionals are trained to help, and it can make such a difference. You don't have to go through it alone.
So important to reiterate that. And the final piece they talked about, which feels really foundational, was self-compassion.
Basically, treating yourself like you'd treat a good friend who is struggling.
Instead of beating yourself up for feeling low at night.
Exactly. No self-criticism. Acknowledge the feelings, okay, I'm feeling sad anxious right now, without judging yourself for it. Remind yourself it's okay to have tough nights. It's part of being human.
Giving yourself permission to just feel it maybe, not needing to immediately fix it. Just rest, be gentle.
Precisely. It's about kindness and understanding towards yourself, especially when you feel vulnerable, taking things one step at a time.
That feels like such a powerful mindset shift. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Our deep dive tonight shows that feeling down at night. It's common, it's understandable.
Yeah. Rooted in both psychology, fewer distractions, more overthinking, loneliness, and biology, like those shifts in serotonin and our sleep cycles.
But the big message, hopefully, is that you're not alone in it, and there are things you can actively do.
Definitely. Actionable steps. We really encourage you listening to maybe pick one strategy we talked about, just one small thing to try.
Like adding 5 minutes of reading to your routine, or trying that gratitude practice. Start small. See what resonates. Be patient with yourself.
And remember, your feelings are valid. It's okay not to be okay sometimes. The key is responding with kindness to yourself.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Now that you understand a bit more about the why behind these nighttime mood shifts, what's one small, intentional change you could make to your evening routine, starting this week, just to cultivate a slightly gentler transition into the night?
Something to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Take good care, everyone. Be kind to yourselves. And remember, you're probably doing better than you think.